All right, well, new survey coming out of England this morning that more and more of us are not really getting to know our neighbours. 3/4 of people surveyed said they don't really want to know their neighbours. And the other quarter said, look, we're very happy with them, we really get along with each other, but it sort of, I reckon, underlines what's been happening in society over the last 20, 30 years. We've gradually drifted away from having that open door policy and leaning over the fence and having a yarn with your neighbour.
Yeah, I'm in a situation where I've lived in the same place for 20 years, and when you've been in the same place in a small suburban street where the houses, and this is interesting because the houses are all those older style houses that are very much at the front of the street. So you haven't got a huge front yard and you haven't got that long driveway. So essentially you open your front door and you can see the people walking down the street that are in your street. So I reckon I'd know most of them, probably at least a dozen people living in their houses around us, and I know them very, very well, to the point where you could ask them to collect your mail, put out your rubbish, keep an eye on your house when you're away. That sort of community I really respect and I like, but I wonder how possible it is when we've become so impersonal, where, you know, and the further you go from the centre of the city, the bigger the blocks of land. So you have big fences up the front. People start to worry about the fortress mentality. They have, you know, so to get to know your neighbours, you've actually got to get out there. And often it's just you're in your car. You're very rarely on the street. So maybe there's a physical aspect to it where we ought to be trying to encourage more people to get to know their neighbours.
Really?
What?
Really?
What?
You've never met some of my neighbours over the years. So I used to have a neighbour, and I hope he's not watching now, but he could talk underwater non-stop, and you knew whenever you took the bins out, he'd be walking down. I think he timed it just to meet me at the driveway so he could have a yarn with me, because inside his own house, his whole family, their ears were bleeding. They're all lying there unconscious because he hadn't stopped talking all day. So he'd get me in the driveway. So I'd either hold back in the garage and wait for him to go down and take his bins out, or better still, just hide in the bin. And sometimes I did that midway through the conversation and it still didn't stop him.
Okay, so
there's a reason why you don't want to get on with your neighbours.
So essentially you've never had an idyllic situation such as I have now?
No.
Where you liked your neighbours?
No, not really. I've always hidden from them.
Have you?
And I'm going to keep it that way.
Has it ever occurred to you there might be a reason for that?
What, me?
You're living in a block of flats at the moment, or an apartment?
Next item.
Okay.